Good evening, Kerbolia. I'm Perch Kerman, and this is Weekly Kerbolia, your window into the frontier. And what a frontier it is. Manny Space Agency, 4 Kerbals, 1 launchpad, and an ambition that, frankly, I find extremely exhilarating. For those just joining the story, MSA is a startup. Director Jebediah runs the show, Bill Kerman builds the rockets, Bob Kerman runs the science, Valentina Kerman calls the launches. That's the entire agency, folks. 4 Kerbals doing the work of 40. Which brings us to this week's development at Mission Control. A sickness turned outbreak, in fact one the Kerbal Center for Disease Control has yet to even name, has swept through all 4 members of the agency. Every single one. Now, frontier means hardship. I wholeheartedly respect the grind. But here's where I must press the agency. Because MSA's response to a building-wide outbreak was to keep working. No quarantine, no pause. Launches prepped by 4 sneezing Kerbals went ahead anyway. The result? Delays regardless, several days of them, and as we'll see tonight, a launch record that speaks for itself. You cannot pioneer the cosmos, and I'm talking to you, Director Kerman, from a sick bed you refuse to admit you're in. The frontier is unforgiving, but it is the frontier, and we'll be covering every cough of it. Stay with us. Tonight's lead, the end of an era. The Zephyr Project, Manny Space Agency's founding program, 4 launches to conquer the skies of Kerbin and touch the edge of space, has reached its conclusion. And let me say, they did it. Zephyr Probe 1-1, 1-2, 2-1, off the ground, into the air, into the data books. The frontier was reached. On that, the agency has earned its applause. I'd be failing you, Kerbolia, if I did not read the fine print, because every one of those successes came limping. Zephyr 1-1, a leaking fuel tank. Zephyr 1-2, faulty circuitry, no electricity generation. Zephyr 2-1, 2 fuel tank leaks. A pattern, Kerbolia. Not bad luck, a pattern. Which brings us to the finale. Zephyr Probe 3-1, the agency's most ambitious build yet. A multi-stage vehicle assembled from every airframe that came before it. First stage, the 2-1. Second stage, the 1-2. A capstone, the culmination of everything Zephyr learned. Its mission? Collect mystery goo from 5 sites and return it safely to the ground. No transmission, no data loss, do it clean. And for a moment, it flew. Then the trouble began. Aerodynamic forces battered the vehicle on ascent. Ground command fought to keep it upright. And to their credit, they did. But at stage separation, the upper stage flipped, top heavy, nose pointed to the ground it had just left, climbing backwards through the sky. Engines dark, a rocket ascending upside down. And here, Kerbolia, is where the agency's oldest ghost returned, the electrical fault. The same leak that plagued the very probe on its first attempt, that forced a complete rebuild, leaked again. 1 battery drained, and the second was broken too. Ground command never saw it. In an effort to conserve power, they switched off the last battery still working, and with it, they switched off the rocket. Uncontrollable, all the way down. The mystery goo, destroyed. The vehicle, gone. 16,909 routes at the bottom of Kerbin's ocean. And Kerbolia, I would be remiss. The agency's own documentary of this mission's redo, the footage they chose to initially publish before deleting and re-uploading the footage, had no audio. None. An agency that cannot catch a broken battery, it seems, cannot catch a broken microphone either. And still, Zephyr succeeded. The program met its goal. The agency reached space. And I only ask, how much further could they have gone if they'd listened to their own warnings? The Zephyr era is over. What comes next, we'll get to. Stay with us. Now, to the contracts. Regardless of what I think of the flying, the agency's paperwork tells a different story. 4 contracts, 4 completed, every one paid in full. Leave the launch pad, a flying vessel, delivered by Zephyr 1-1, 26,000 routes. Do some science, first data from the air, same vehicle, another 10,000. Reach the upper atmosphere, 18 kilometers, cleared by Zephyr 1-2, 41,000. And the crown jewel, enter into space, 70 kilometers, the edge of the void itself. Zephyr 2-1, 60,000 routes, which means, for all the leaks, all the wobbles, all the sunken science, Manny Space Agency turned its founding program into a war chest. This is not a company that's broke. This is a company that's funding something great. And a note of mercy, Kerbolia. The catastrophic finale, Zephyr 3-1, it carried no contracts. The agency lost a rocket but not a client. Even a broken clock, it seems, picks the right day to fail. Where all the routes are going, that's a question for later in the broadcast. Stay with us. And now, to science. Because Manny Space Agency is not merely launching metal Kerbolia, they are publishing. I have reviewed the agency's collected findings and I must share them with you. On a temperature scan taken over Kerman shores, the agency reports, and I quote, "The ambient temperature is the definition of beach weather." Groundbreaking. From the upper atmosphere, a second thermal reading. The published figure, 82. Or is that 28? They never did tell you which side of this thing is up. This Kerbolia, from the agency's own scientist, and the crown of the agency's research, the mystery goo. Its behavior meticulously documented across the ascent. At altitude, the goo jiggles and wobbles as the craft flies. Higher still, the goo seems to be getting very cold. At the edge of space, the goo has clumped into a sphere. It also appears to have become brittle, which makes the finale all the more tragic because this jiggling, freezing, brittle goo is the very research the agency was chasing on Zephyr 3-1. Still, the papers that survived will be studied for generations, or at least until someone at the agency remembers to check which side is up. The science endures, Kerbolia. Stay with us. And now, the numbers. Not the agency's bank account, Kerbolia, its performance. One question only. Did the Zephyr project make money or spend it? I audited every route the program earned and every route it burned. Every launch starts in the red. A rocket costs routes before it earns them, but the contracts pay it back, and then some. Leave the launch pad, do some science, the net climbs into profit. Zephyr 1-2 pushes it higher, 41,000 routes, for the upper atmosphere. And Zephyr 2-1, the big one, 60,000 routes for reaching space. At that moment, the Zephyr project was running a net profit of about 120,423 routes. 3 launches, deep in the black, a program that on paper worked. And then Zephyr 3 spent it back, watched the net fall, 16,900 routes, built and lost on the sea floor, earning nothing. A rebuild, another 16,900, clawing back just 12,500 upon vessel recovery. Do the math with me. The Zephyr 3 program, both attempts against its one recovery ran a net loss of 21,236 routes. It didn't just fail to profit, Kerbolia. It ate into everything the first 3 launches had earned. Final verdict on the Zephyr project, 150,000 routes earned, 51,000 routes spent, net profit 99,187 routes, approximately. 99,000 routes of profit is a real result, and I won't pretend otherwise. But strip away those first 3 clean launches, and the finale everyone will remember is lost money. The Zephyr project was profitable despite its grand finale, not because of it. A profitable program, a questionable ending. Stay with us. Now, Kerbolia, I do not believe my opinion is the only one worth airing. So we open the line to our first ever caller to Weekly Kerbolia, a young man with, shall we say, strong feelings about Manny Space Agency. Gus Kerman, an aerospace engineering student who has, by his own admission, a poster of the Zephyr 2-1 on his dorm wall. Gus, you're on the air. Perch, thank you. I'm a huge fan, but I gotta push back on the whole broadcast, man. You spent the entire lead segment burying Zephyr 3-1 and continue downplaying its significance afterwards. I know it crashed, fine, but that was the most ambitious thing this agency has ever attempted. It's the first multi-stage vehicle built from 3 previous airframes. You don't get to space by playing it safe, Perch. That crash was the price of pushing the envelope. Gus, if you'd watched closely, you'd know what I said. The ambition is real, the airframe was a genuine leap. I gave them every ounce of that credit. But that is not what sank the rocket, son. Ambition didn't flip it. Ambition didn't drain the batteries. A known electrical fault, the same one that plagued the previous launches, did. And when it mattered, Ground Command switched off the only other working battery they had left. That's not the Frontier's price, Gus. That's a checklist nobody read. I'll cheer the ambition all day. I will not cheer the carelessness. Okay, but that virus segment at the top? That was harsh, Perch. You made it sound like they were being reckless for not shutting down. But this is a 4-Kerbal agency. 4! If they stop, everything stops. The contracts lapse, money dries up, the whole operation just dies. They didn't ignore the virus because they were lazy. They kept going because they had no choice. You can't quarantine when you are the company. You know, Gus, that one lands. I called it negligence, and listening to you, I think I was too easy on the word. A 4-Kerbal startup doesn't have a quarantine option. There's no bench, no backup crew, no one to cover the shift. Push or perish. So I'll walk that back. It may not have been carelessness at all. It may have been the only move they had, and a reporter ought to know the difference between a bad choice and an impossible position. Fair point, son. That's on me. Yes, thank you. So really, when you think about it, none of it was actually their fault. The virus, the crash, all of it, they were just... Ah, there it is. No, Gus. One of those I gave you, the other one, the battery, is still sitting at the bottom of the Kerman's ocean, and no amount of enthusiasm is floating it back. The virus, I'll grant you. The dead battery stays theirs. But you keep that poster up, son. The frontier needs believers like you. Gus Kerman, everyone. Our first caller, and I suspect not our last. And that's the state of things at Manny Space Agency. A virus through the ranks, a rocket on the ocean floor, 4 contracts paid, and 1 program retired. I'm speaking directly to the agency here. If you're watching, and I hope you are, we at Weekly Kerbolia will be here, covering every launch, triumph, and disaster. We're not going anywhere, and neither it seems are you. From all of us here at the Frontier, stay curious, Kerbolia, stay hopeful, and keep looking up. I'm Perch Kerman. Good night.